Kyle Anderson, is this going to be the team for the Golden State Warriors heading into next year? And if it is, and we'll wait and see, we're still on market and watch, we'll see if that happens. But if it doesn't, how are we feeling about this squad? Dub Nation, how are we feeling about these moves? 888-957-9570. And by the way, some of those young Warriors players, Quentin Post, potentially, maybe you'll see him this weekend at the California Classic, which is coming to Chase Center starting July 6th, a summer basketball showcase featuring 2024 NBA draft picks, second-year pros, and more players. Go to Warriors.com for your tickets, all brought to you by Clean California. Remember, just one piece of litter can ruin the game. Zero litter is the goal, and don't be a litter bug with all your fireworks scraps today. Throw those away as well, and be safe out there. It is hot. We don't want to start any fires of the fireworks, if you will, so please be safe. Please be smart. And Sam Lubman, are the Warriors being smart with this offseason so far?
It's been interesting so far. I think they're doing the best they can with considering the resources they have to work with. Again, it'll be interesting to see kind of what the financials for this Buddy Hield deal look like. If any players go out in return, which players those are. We were kind of wondering if it's just picks or if a player has to go out because you got to make the salaries match. So I shot a text to our friend Anthony Slater just being like, hey, what's going to be the deal with that one? So we'll see if he gets back to us there.
You know people. You're pretty tapped in. You can just text your guy, Anthony Slater.
Yeah, text our guy.
The best guy that's tapped in.
Our friend Anthony Slater. He's the Morning Roast friend. He's basically a co-host on the show. I'm surprised we're not getting him on right now. I mean, Warriors News breaks. He should be on right now.
We do got Jason Dumas alongside Evan Giddings. Jason Dumas, also our guy here at 95.7 The Game. He's also tapped in as well. So I'll get his thoughts on all that and what he's hearing as well. 888-957-9570, the number. Pablo, Uncle Gene. I see all you guys. We'll get to some of your calls, some of your texts in just a second. And man, this has been an exciting day, this 4th of July here in the Bay. And we've been talking a lot about, your sports independence, gaining that. Did Klay Thompson gain his independence from the Golden State Warriors? Did he need that to move on? And he did move on. And how are we feeling about that, Dub Nation? 888-957-9570. Let's go out to Pablo is in Berkeley. Wants to join in on the conversation. What's going on, Pablo? You're on with Spadoni and Lubman.
Hey, happy 4th of July, guys.
You too.
Yeah, happy 4th.
And I was just trying to say now, thinking about it now, like Klay's gone, and kind of what happens just as a reality is that what that did really was give the rest of the league a collective phew. Like, we'll never have to face those big three ever again in the finals. And so that's a big turning point, because it's kind of like Tom leaving the Patriots. It's like everybody says, thank goodness. And that kind of hurts the Warriors. But, change is not a bad thing necessarily. I remember when Coach Kirk first came in and how I felt about that. But now, long story short, now we have to look towards tomorrow and what's the next step. If they try to build on the Warriors based on analytics, I feel we're in big trouble. We should start making We Believe t-shirts again, because that's all we're going to have, fighting for 500. But if we can find and ask simple questions like, who's hungry? Is Curry hungry? I don't know. He kind of has to be hungry because they've been building the team on him. Is Dre hungry? He might be, maybe. Kuminga, is he hungry? I think. Looney, is he still hungry? I think. That's the questions that we got to ask, and that's my point, guys. Maybe that would cause more questions.
There you go. It's Pablo in Berkeley. I'm hungry after listening to that. I want some food. I want the Italian sausage. I want some hot dogs. I want some cheeseburgers. I want it all today at 888-957-9570.
Do you want some details on, are you hungry for some details on this trade here?
Please.
Because Woj just dropped one of his famous Woj bombs. ESPN sources, free agent Buddy Hield is joining Golden State on a sign and trade deal for 2 years and $21 million. Hield will get $18 million in the first 2 years and then a $3 million partial guarantee in the third year and a player option on a non-guaranteed fourth year. The Warriors are sending the Sixers the 2031 second-round pick via Dallas.
Okay. So looking at that right now, and I'm pulling up Buddy Hield currently on all of Buddy Hield. Yeah, they're pretty quick. They're updating everything right now. So Buddy Hield, man, he's going to be in here for the long haul. And that's a lot. That's
for me, 2 to 3 years at minimum.
They're not sending money back, Sam Lubman. Like, is this going to be the team? Are they?
I guess so.
They didn't really. They didn't.
I don't know what. They needed shooting. They got some shooting. Is it
I don't
enough
know if this
shooting?
is enough for the Golden State Warriors fans. I don't know. Like, I think they need Markkanen. I still think they need that. I think these are nice pieces to have. I think Kyle Anderson is a solid piece. I think D'Anthony Melton has potential high upside, but he's also betting on himself on a one-year deal. So if he does have that upside, can the Warriors keep him? Like, this is going to be a year that I don't think there's a move out there that makes them title contenders.
No, you need to just catch fire.
Correct. But can it set the table to win a title in the years after that? That's going to be the question. And it does look like Buddy Hield's going to be here, at least for the little bit of a longer haul than I initially thought with those Woj details. So how are we feeling about this, Warriors fans? I want to go to Uncle Gene out in Oakland, 888-957-9570.
Oh, so happy to hear from Gene.
What's going on, Gene? You're on with Spadoni and Lubman. How you doing, man?
Hey, doing good. Happy 4th of July.
Happy 14th, Gene.
Quickly. Yeah, thank you. Spadone, you're going to Hawaii, right?
In October, first time. Yeah, Kauai. I'm going to that island. Not Leonard, but yeah, Kauai.
Oh, man. You going to the main island, Hawaii?
No, I'm going to Kauai. I think that's one of the other islands.
Kauai? Oh, beautiful. Most beautiful place on earth, man. I've been there a couple of times. You'll love it. Anyway.
I'm excited. No, I'm excited. I've never been.
Make sure you see that coastline.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Absolutely.
All right. So back to the Dubs here. Listen, I'm happy about the Hield deal. You know, I mean, I look at these things in kind of a risk reward sort of way. Risk reward for Hield was low. I guess they're paying him. What'd you say? About $18 million first couple of years, and all they give up is some second round draft pick in 2031. So that's a good deal in my mind. We needed a backup, experienced backup guard, and we got one. So I'm happy for that. But I'm concerned. I'm worried, in fact, about any possible Markkanen deal. Really worried about it because I'm afraid there may be a sense of desperation on our part to land a so-called big name. And I'm afraid we're going to wind up giving up much too much and mortgaging a good part of the future to do it. I mean, if, for example, we had to give up, so let's say Kuminga, Wiggins, and draft picks at the end of this decade, I wouldn't make that deal. Now, I tend to be a little more positive on Wiggins than a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people kind of overlook how he kind of bounced back in the last third of the season. I still have hope for him, and he's still a good two-way player. But, if we're giving up high draft picks, like in 2027, 28, 29, I mean, that's when we're going to really need those high draft picks to rebuild the team, along with, some good free agent signings. And Markkanen is not a number two, as you said already. He's injury prone. He's a soft, big guy. Sure, he can space the floor, but he's not going to play defense against the quality bigs in the league.
Yeah, he's not that ultimate answer that the Warriors really need in the wake of Klay Thompson
Gene.
leaving.
Absolutely. That's Gene out in Oakland. 888-957-9570. I think Gene's going to be at the Warriors Summit. He usually comes to a lot of our parties and summits, stuff like that. So shout out Gene there. And again, if you want to join in on that Warriors Summit, we're going to be talking about this Buddy Hield acquisition. We're going to be talking about D'Anthony Melton, Klay Thompson, Lauri Markkanen. Is he still going to be on the table by then? We shall see. And again, that's all going to be on July 8th from 4 to 6 p.m. Willard and Dibbs will get the party started at 2, followed by the rest of the guys from 4 to 6. So again, 2 o'clock, Willard and Dibbs starting at 4 to 6. All the other guys, Fremont Bank, go to 957thegame.com to reserve your spot now. Thing with Buddy Hield, and I don't know if he's going to be a starter on this team. He wasn't a starter with the Philadelphia 76ers. He kind of fell out of that rotation, and he had that game in a loss against the New York Knicks. He had that big playoff performance in the first half or whatever. It's like, oh, Buddy Hield game, but they lost. So it wasn't the Buddy Hield game. I don't know what you're going to get for him, but from the price point, from what the details have been released from Adrian Wojnarowski, I'm not mad at it. Yeah, again, he's made the most three-pointers the last 5 seasons. It's been him and Steph Curry. So you're getting a guy that can shoot that three-point ball. This Warriors team has been predicated on that shot, whether it was with Klay Thompson or not. Stephen Curry is the guy. He's the greatest three-point shooter in the history of the NBA. You have got to keep that as your identity. So you bring in a guy like that. You bring in Slow-Mo, Kyle Anderson. You bring in D'Anthony Melton. I'm not mad at any of these signings. I'm not. You're never going to get the Klay Thompson name
You're not
never going to get that
replacing
back.
Clay.
You're not replacing
You're
Clay
trying
with
to
that.
recreate him in a sense.
And you're also trying to recreate this roster right now. And I do like that they brought in some savvy veterans with Anderson and Hield, because they also are still addressing the now with Stephen Curry. If you're bringing in some young, unproven talent, that's one thing, but you're bringing in proven commodities in the league, and you're paying them at a price that's not going to bite you down the line. So they are being frugal here, which I think we need to keep in mind as well. Joe Lacob has been on record, Sam, saying, you know what, I'm not going to overspend for a team that's not a true playoff contender. I want to get to the playoffs. I would love to do that. If I think we're going to win a championship, I'll overspend. But these moves tell me they are starting to be a little more frugal going forward.
Yeah, well, maybe frugal is a very strong word. Maybe I
didn't say
cost
cheap.
Efficient.
They're not being cheap. That is something we're not saying. They are definitely trying to tiptoe around this thing, because they do have to keep in mind Stephen Curry is eligible for an extension this offseason. And I'm very interested to see how this next year plays out. We'll have to wait and see that, because could he be a guy that could potentially looking at this situation being like, yeah, these pieces aren't doing it for me. Like I don't know if I can.
Well, you got to figure if they're making this deal, they're like, "Hey, Steph, we got this. We got this deal to bring Buddy Hield in here for only picks, and then we're going to spend some money on him." You got to figure. My guess is Steph has got to be okaying all of these moves.
Well, of course, he's going to be okaying it with it, but he's also not going to be. He's not LeBron James in all of this. Like, I think we also need to get that clear. He's not going to have his footprint on every single one of these things. One of the reasons we love Steph is because he is selfless, in a sense, but he's also. Some fans don't like this, but he's also selfless in a sense when it comes to some of these moves and all this other stuff. Like, whereas LeBron James is lead GM, right? We always kind of make fun of him. He has his footprints on everything. If LeBron wants you, he's going to keep you here. If he doesn't want you here, he's going to send you away. I do think a lot of Warriors fans would like Steph to be a little bit more cognizant of his own legacy, and being a little bit more, and I use this kind of loosely, selfish when it comes to that stuff, but he's not. And I do think he has an okay on all these decisions. And I do think this has been a net positive offseason. I just don't know if this is the leap that Warriors fans were expecting this offseason.
Well, I'm kind of curious what leap Warrior fans were expecting this year, because when you look at what was available to them and what options they had, like, this is kind of where, Bonta and I, we've talked about this kind of in our show calls and stuff. This is why I think the logic of the step back made the most sense this year, even though it's not a fun sell. There's a difference between, activity and improvement. And it's very easy to confuse, one for the other. Just because you're making a bunch of moves doesn't mean you're getting better. So I do like these moves. I do like Anderson. I do like Melton. I'm interested to see how Buddy Hield will fit in. I think you got a good point. And I mentioned the last segment, is he going to be part of the starting lineup? Maybe he's not. Maybe that's still Pajemski.
But he does bring shooting. That is important for this team that struggled from beyond the arc at times last year.
Yeah, and so it'll be interesting maybe how he fits in with the second unit if he's part there. You mentioned, though, they got some veteran guys here. Melton, I believe, is 27, 28. Kyle Anderson, he's 31. Buddy Hield, he's 31. You got some veteran players. And Steve Kerr, he likes his vets. So I'm curious, these are Kerr guys, the guys that Steve really likes. So it'll be interesting to see the fit there. I'm kind of all over the place and kind of what this is going to do for them. I'm kind of curious what options they have left. Like, is this official? Like, can we put the kibosh on any sort of Lauri Markkanen deal now?
No, not yet. Let's wait and see.
Because what if they still add Markkanen on top of this now?
I'm just looking at the shooting guards they're adding, and Kyle Anderson, obviously, he's a bigger guy. He's more of a power forward. He can be a small ball 5 if you need him to be. Buddy Hield, strictly a shooter on this team. I'm looking at spots getting taken up potentially. And I already know where this certain guy that I'm going to bring up is at the totem pole, because Steve Kerr has already said as much, that Brandon Pajemski kind of took his spot and ran with it. It's Moses Moody. He might be looking like the guy that could potentially be on a trade block.
I think he...
If I'm just looking at roster spots, and I know Warriors fans don't want to hear that, because I do think highly of Moses Moody, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's on the team next year, and he takes that next step. But I'm looking at Moses Moody right now, potentially being that guy who might be the odd man out next year. Again, we'll wait and see if there's a trade happening with Markkanen. We're still on Markkanen watch here at 95.7 The Game. What is going to happen with him? Are the Jazz going to trade him? Aren't they? But right now we're reacting to Buddy Hield agreeing to a sign and trade in the Sixers and setting him over for a second-round pick in 2031. So Buddy Hield is a Golden State Warrior and Dennis in San Francisco. How do you feel about it? You're on with Spadoni and Shasky on 95. Spadoni and Lubman, excuse me, on 95.7 The Game.
Hey guys, happy 4th of July.
You too, man.
Happy 4th to you as well.
Long time, 22-year season ticket holder. I can tell you for sure, and I said pretty close. I can tell you with great certainty that Klay had lost. You can't go through an ACL and an Achilles and be anywhere near the athlete. So his defense was terrible. I mean, his three-point shooting was way off. They just stole Buddy Hield. I mean, that's an incredible buy with the current CBA and the second apron and all that. So I'm very happy with where they're at right now. I think they're going to be better than last year. And if you throw Markkanen in there, I don't know how they're going to do that. But if you did, then we got a contender. So Klay had to go. I love him, but he had to go.
Dennis, real quick, contender for what?
A contender for the West. Contender to be 1-2 in the West.
Really? You think they're a Lauri Markkanen away from being a championship team?
We have a guy that's a generational talent. You guys keep forgetting, and he knows how to win championships. And his name is Steph Curry, and he's got 2 years left max.
You still think he's a top 5 player in the NBA?
Oh, I sure do. Yeah,
okay.
You bet.
All right,
and you space it a little bit. Klay shot 38% from three. Buddy Hield in his good years was shooting 42, 43, 44 even one year. I think at Sacramento. The guy's a flamethrower. He will spread the court for for Steph. Steph won't get double teamed all the time. We've added some depth with Kyle, and I think Markkanen would be icing on the cake and make him very compelling. Okay. We have Steph Curry, and it's only a year or two left.
Okay, there you go. That's Dennis in San Francisco. He likes it.
Yeah. To Dennis's point, Buddy. Wow, geez. He has shot 40% from three in his career, most recently in the 22-23 season with the Pacers. When he started 73 games and shot 42% from three, averaging just a tick under 17 points a game. Yeah, if you get that performance from Buddy, you're looking very good, especially when all you had to give up was a second-round pick that's going to come in a whole different decade. The potential's there. The potential is certainly there, whether he's starting or coming off the bench.
There you go. Let's go to David in Concord before we get to Fast Five here. David, you're on with Spadoni and Lubman. What's going on?
Hey, guys. First of all, can you hear me? I think I have a bad connection.
No, you sound great.
You have an amazing connection, Dave.
Cool. Okay, 2 points. Number one, you may grade the draft a B, but I'm grading Dunleavy's performance an A. I think he's done a phenomenal job given the constraints that he had, and we can't minimize that at all. And the second point I want to make is with the CBA, we can't underestimate at all the impact of getting under the aprons and the cap. This is going to pay dividends for years and add the financial flexibility going forward. So that's great. And a quick PSA to all my friends and brothers who I play ball with at 24 Hour in Walnut Creek. Shoot it on the chat if you're hearing this now. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Oh, David calling his shot there. Look at that. All right. And
we used to go to that 24 in Walnut Creek a lot.
Used to? Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
You used to
my dad and I, when I was
get
growing up.
Get buckets or what?
Oh, no, we'd go to the gym there.
Oh, okay. Big workout guys. Your dad? I don't think I've ever worked out with my dad before.
No, he was the guy I got started with. So.
There you go. That's
Thanks for listening, Dad.
He showed you the ropes. There you go.
He did, yeah. No, I got my workout ethic from my dad. Shout out Jim Lubman. So thank you for that.
There you go. Shout out Jim Lubman and shout out
I threw out the bat signal for him, buddy.
Shout out Evan and Dumas who are coming up here shortly. But before we get to them, Sammy, we got to get to Fast Five.